A good horror game is something special. It is able not just to challenge us with its gameplay or tell a good story, but to scare us, to haunt our dreams and idle thoughts, even to make us question our own perceptions of reality. In this podcast, we meet the developers of both existing popular horror titles and hotly anticipated upcoming ones to discuss how they do it, what inspires them, and all things spooky and unnerving. Welcome to Talking Terror, the official podcast of the Horror Game Awards. Hello and welcome to Talking Terror, the official podcast of the Horror Game Awards. As ever, I'm Phil, and my co-host today is one of our jurors from the Horror Game Awards, Budden.
Hello, hi. My name is Budin. I'm from Argentina.
And
I'm very thankful. I'm sorry. I'm very thankful for being here.
no worries. And we are grateful to be joined by Tymon Smektała from Techland to talk about Dying Light and obviously the upcoming Dying Light: The Beast. So thank you very much for joining us.
Great to be here. I am a little bit scared, but I think it makes sense for the Horror Game Awards podcast. And yes, my name is Tymon Smektała. I am the franchise director for Dying Light, which means I have been working on Dying Light games, all Dying Light stuff, for 12 years now. So quite a lot.
Yeah. So I think kind of to start us off, obviously the big thing people are anticipating is the upcoming The Beast. So to kind of give us a taster so far, what can you tell us kind of as a overview of what we can expect?
Yep, so Dying Light: The Beast is a new game in Dying Light series, and it has really grown a lot since in the last few months. So we are very happy with where it's landing. It's going to be a really nice, quite big, surprisingly big and varied open world survival horror, which stars the main protagonist is a guy named Kyle Crane. If you played the first game, you know him probably from the first game, but you can also play The Beast without knowing the guy. What's important about him right now is that he has been kept and experimented upon by this mad scientist type called the Baron. And Baron was really conducting a lot of very cruel experiments on Kyle. During the process, he also intertwined Kyle's DNA with the zombie DNA, which means that Kyle has access to some very specific, very special powers that are a little bit above what a human person could do. At the start of the game, Kyle escapes from Baron's laboratory and obviously is looking for revenge. But since the Baron is such a big presence, he has a private army and even controls some of the zombies. He needs allies, so he starts searching for the allies in this new open world region called Castor Woods. And this is how the game begins. It's a very nice mix of survival, horror, and also some moments where you unleash your anger, unleash your beast side, where you can really kind of get nasty with your opposition.
Sounds good. So am I right in that this originally started life as it was going to be a DLC and then kind of evolved into its own thing?
Yes, but to be honest, I kind of would like to not even remind people about it because I think this will build their expectations that, oh, this is like a small game. It started as a DLC, but actually it really like that's also why I said at the beginning that it has grown a lot in the last few months. I think the passion of our team and how excited we got about working again with the character of Kyle Crane, and also by seeing some new opportunities that the new area, new gameplay elements bring, it really made us go basically full on. So there was no stopping. At some point, like, okay, maybe we started slowly, but at some point, all the gates of hell have opened, and we basically started pumping stuff and adding it to the game. So yes, you could trace its origins to a DLC for the second game, which unfortunately was leaked on the internet. The narrative has been leaked on the internet. We wanted to somehow respond to that situation, and we basically restarted the project. We just used some very simple elements from that DLC and started building on top of it. So yes, like if you look like go through the whole thread right to where it started, yes, there was something like that. But I'm kind of happy to reveal or confirm that Dying Light the Beast has grown so much and got so beastie in the process that it really deserves to be treated as basically the next entry in Dying Light series.
That sounds, I think, like taking something which is quite a negative, obviously in the past with leaks and stuff, and then turning it into like this huge positive. You've created something brand new, and from the sounds of it, it's taken on a life of its own.
Yes, so definitely, as you can imagine, like the first day after the leak, like everyone was grim faces and feeling very sad and very shocked and not really knowing what we should do right now. But I think we have managed to turn it around relatively quickly. We did a basically emergency meeting with all of the leads from the company, discussing various options. One of the ideas was basically the one that we followed later, where we said, okay, let's kind of start from scratch. Let's just take some elements. Mostly it's the environment from that DLC. Let's bring the new character. Let's bring new mechanics. Guys, what do you think about it? Everyone was super excited. Like we have lots of I would say internal fans of Kyle Crane and kind of the feel of the first game. So we got really excited, but of course there was one topic that we needed to check immediately. Can we do Kyle Crane with the voice of Kyle Crane, the original voice of Kyle Crane, which we feel, and I think this is a feeling that is shared by our community as well, that I don't know, 80% of the character was made by the voice of Roger Craig Smith, the voice actor that voiced Kyle Crane in the first game. We reached out to Roger. Thankfully he was actually able to work with us. He has a very busy schedule, but we managed to find some holes in it where we could basically get back to playing Kyle. And when that was confirmed, we did another meeting, maybe not emergency this time, but like more looking at opportunities, looking at what we can do right now if we have the most important part secured. And as I said previously, the gates of creativity have opened. Everyone was like, you could really feel like a seismic shift in the energy in the building, because I think more than around 60% of the people that work on the Beast are people that have worked to some extent on Dying Light 1. So this kind of rejuvenated, made us all younger, made us all going back to that period of time where we were a smaller studio, kind of with this indie passion-driven approach to game making, and it was really refreshing. Everyone has started adding ideas to the pitch for this new game, and it was good enough that it also made our CEO excited. He's a real serious businessman, getting crazy from time to time, but still he basically cuts the bullshit out and just looks at the project and says, yeah, this makes sense. And he saw sense in it. So gladly we followed. And a couple of a year later, we are here right before the release of the Beast, and we are super happy with where we are with the game.
Yeah, good stuff. And like I take it like the reception, obviously, since the recent trailers that have come out and stuff has been really positive, and so I take it you guys are really happy with kind of how everything's going on that end as well.
Yes, we are very happy with this. Actually, to be honest, we were even a little bit surprised by how happy we were, because right after the announcement, of course, like every developer, we were checking the wish lists on Steam, like are people interested in it? And what happened was that the kind of the curve that shows the wish list, it basically skyrocketed. Like we didn't, I must admit, we didn't expect it to be such a strong response from the community. I think the return of Kyle Crane really struck a chord with our own community, but also with players that maybe have heard about the character, maybe have heard about Dying Light 1, but weren't able to play it those 10 years ago. So basically, it was like kind of 5 times bigger than the wish list for Dying Light 2 when it was announced. So it was really, really surprising for us. And still the trend keeps going. So it feels that the players are waiting for this game. We have been staying quiet for quite some time. We basically just announced the game at Gamescom last year in August. We reminded ourselves a little bit during last year the Game Awards with another trailer which showcased the antagonist, the nemesis of the game, the Baron. And we are basically waiting with our finger on the above the green button to just start the real rollout of the game, which will happen very, very soon. And then I think the interest will not only basically it will grow even bigger. So yes, we are very happy, and to be honest, like I walk through our offices every day, and just recently we have completed a very important milestone for the game, and everyone at the studio basically got some time to play it, and I see people playing the game, and I see how happy and how kind of proud and excited they are about the game. There's really something special about it. I don't want to hype it, like please don't get me wrong, like but I'm really excited about the game. I'm really having fun playing it.
Okay, I think you are allowed to hype this game.
Yeah, I have to say I can't wait.
Yeah, but like if you like, there's a kind of an idiom in Polish language. I'm not sure if it's also the same in Spanish or in English, but like about falling from a high horse. I don't want to make the horse to be too high. We don't want to fall for this. I don't want to overhype and then under deliver. But we are really excited about where we are, and kind of this like personal story. But I remember there was a day in a very similar setup, like after an important milestone for Dying Light 1, sometime before, like very soon before the release of the game, I came to the office and I basically experienced the same thing that people are experiencing in the studio. I played the game and I basically couldn't put the controller down. I was just keeping playing it, even though I knew the game. I was working on it. There were sections I replayed hundreds of times over, but I kind of played it as a player. I just sat in front of my screen, took the controller, and did like a real playthrough to it. And I was having so much fun. And then I understood back then, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, I kind of felt, wow, this is something special. I hope players will appreciate it because we're really having fun doing it and playing it. And I think there's a very similar feeling right now at the studio. So again, I'm very hopeful that the excitement, the passion that we have for the game will come through the screen, and players will also have even more fun playing it because for them it will be a fresh experience.
Very
I
nice.
can't wait. I want to play now.
Oh, sorry. So, oh, no. So I stop hyping it for the duration of the podcast because I don't want to overhype.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. When we get to questions that people have sent in, that might be difficult. Pretty much all of them are about the Beast, and I mean, we've got a few about kind of the franchise in general, but like everyone is very much excited to kind of see where things go.
Okay. Just a small heads up. I want to say it right now. I'm not sure I will be able to reveal everything, absolutely, but I will try to do as much as I can. I'm usually like the PR team in our studio. We have a very it's complicated on our Facebook because they kind of know I do the kind of okay job of talking about the game and explaining the game, but they also know that I spill the beans like crazy. So after each interview, they say, "Oh, you did a good job," but then you said this, and that, and you shouldn't be saying that. So I try to behave, and let's see how that works.
I don't think there's any questions that just say, "Tell us everything that happens."
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's mostly like technical stuff on gameplay wise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But actually, we do have a kind of video question that's been sent in, so I think we'll look at that first, if that's
Okay.
Oh, that's my coworker.
Hola.
Hola.
hopefully this will all work as intended when I press play and you'll be able to hear it. But let me know if there's no sound.
Okay, let's try it.
Hi, Tymon. This is Diego from Haunting Human Studio. You've been a huge inspiration for us with the level design and the narrative behind Dying Light. In that regards, the questions will be: what does the beast mean for the future of Dying Light? And also, if this game is a bridge to a new direction for the series, or do you plan to continue exploring stories in this universe? Thanks a lot for everything.
Wow, super nice and super kind words. So thank you first of all for those words. I didn't get the name of the guy, so but
His name
since
is
you
Diego. I'm working with him
Diego,
in a
okay,
video game.
okay. So thank you, Diego, for this. Again, I'm learning a little bit Spanish, but I don't want to make an ass of myself, so I will not even try to go in that direction. Um, but so first of all, thank you, and it's kind of amazingly special to hear that what we do, like somewhere in Poland, somewhere in Europe, can be an inspiration for creative, passionate game developers all around the world. So this is really kind of very important to hear that. A little bit awkward because I'm probably blushing, but still, this is a very heartwarming revelation. So thanks for that. Now answering the question. Um, what does Dying Like the Beast story narrative means for the franchise? I think this is for me personally, and I think we kind of also approach this in this way. This is a game that will be the culmination of the 10 years of our development journey on the series so far. So this means that we are touching and taking inspirations and answering questions that still are unanswered from the first game and also a little bit from the second game. Of course, we are bringing the character from the first game, but you will see that the story of the beast is somehow connected to everything that happened before. So it kind of closes the first 10 years of the history of the franchise. And it's also a culmination of our experiences and learnings as a developer. We learned a lot from Dying Light 1. We learned a lot from Dying Light 2. Those games were actually quite different in the feel, in how we approached the zombie experience, the zombie apocalypse. The first one was a little bit more on the survival side. The second was a little bit more on the action side. And I think by trying those two approaches, we now know what's the perfect formula for Dying Light game, what's the secret sauce that hopefully will work for the beast. So in that way, we are also using those experiences. Our technology has matured. So we always wanted to master the first person melee combat, the first person parkour. And I think this is something that the beast does, because basically like we have been constantly learning and taking experiences and gaining insights on how to create those systems. So definitely the beast benefits from that. Now looking into the future, this closes the first decade, the first chapter, the first tome of Dying Light story. But we hope this will be also a grand opening for the future. The game looks beautiful. The game plays very well. The game, I think it's very approachable. Even if you are scared, oh, I haven't played the previous two games, should I play it? I think you should, because it's also a very great entry point into the franchise. And at the end of it, we are hinting about some of our ideas for the future of the series. So, so I think that's how the Beast positions itself in the whole history of the franchise. And going back to the last part of Diego's question, we don't expect to change the core formula for Dying Light, like a classic Dying Light game, where it's a narrative-driven, open-world survival horror with a great focus on immersion and making sure that we put you in the shoes of the main character in this zombie apocalypse. Now, this doesn't mean that we will not try to do different things, maybe with different projects. like even things like board game or a comic book. We are trying to make sure that Dying Light is not just the games, but not just this one type of game, but also many various other entertainment pieces. But definitely the core Dying Light experience will stay as it is right now, which is narrative driven, open world survival horror.
Can I just ask about the name as well? Because we had a question about the inspiration for it being called the Beast. But all like, and that's obviously coming back to Carl Crane's beast nature, as you said earlier on. But also I noticed that obviously we had Dying Light, we had Dying Light 2, Stay Human, and then this one, instead of being Dying Light 3, the Beast, is just Dying Light the Beast. Is there any significance behind that, or
The fact that it doesn't has three in it, or the subtitles?
well, kind of both.
Okay, so the fact that it doesn't has three in it, okay, let me rephrase it. I think this is just a naming convention, but what I think what's the most important is actually the subtitles. And even if you say it like that, you see that there's some kind of a arc. Like there's Dying Light, and there's Stay Human, and there's the Beast. So there is some kind of a narrative, which I think also follows the main protagonists of the game. At the same time, I think the Beast, I think is important to say that it has a couple of meanings. And of course, the most obvious one, especially based on what players know already, is that Kyle Crane is the Beast because he has access to those powers. But at the same time, maybe Baron is the Beast because he was doing those experiments on this poor guy, and maybe this is actually something that is kind of beastly. And we're also saying that there is maybe another beast somewhere in the forest that you're hunting for that also terrorizes the area. So um, the name is actually was chosen on purpose, because it has a couple of meanings. And I think when you finish the game, you will kind of see that the interpretation of who the real beast is maybe not as simple as you might think right now.
Interesting. Yeah. I realize obviously you can't say more because it's always better to go in fresh to these things and kind of experience it for yourself.
Of course, like this will be definitely spoilers territory, so I don't want to go there.
Is there ever a temptation that, like, when you, because if you're really proud of it, like there's like part of you that wants to like go, oh, and this happens and this.
Oh, like this happens, like believe me, like if you would see the mental processes in my brain that are happening since the last, I don't know, 25 minutes, there's like a lot of things happening, and I just have to push away a bunch of them, and basically not start saying them because that would be revealing. And like there's nothing wrong with revealing, but at the same time, I think revealing too much takes away the fun from the game, because like this, like that's what games are made for. You just basically soak yourself in the experience, and you soak everything that's happening on the screen. And it's important for you to be surprised, be amazed, be excited about what's happening on the screen. And if you know beforehand that something is going to happen, that this is that or this is that, I think the excitement, the amazement is smaller. And I want players, I want gamers to experience the Beast in full.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm sorry. I have a question. As we were talking about Kyle Crane and Roger Gray-Smith, was he the first choice for the role of Kyle Crane?
That's a good question, and to be honest, I don't remember. I don't know. Apologies. I like to be. So first of all, I don't. So I don't know. And then also I don't know because when I joined Techland, he was when I joined Techland, he was chosen right like soon after I joined, and of course, as you can imagine, I was just a junior game designer basically back then, so I wasn't involved that much in those discussions. But that's actually interesting. I think I need to talk with Roger because we have like a line of communication. Of course, right now that's obvious. So I never asked him this question. So I think I will, because that's actually a very cool kind of information nugget that will be good to have. So thank you for asking me that. apologies for not having the answer, but then I will try to get my answer as quickly as possible.
Okay.
So maybe I will even update you on this if I learn it.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for giving you more work.
No, that's good. That's actually good. That's good. Like, I'm not scared of work. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, even kind of back then, obviously a good choice from the start. Someone who's also the voice of Chris Redfield and in a completely other light, and going back to aspect of my childhood,
Well,
Sonic the Hedgehog as well.
Yeah, he's really
He
iconic.
also did Ezio from Assassin's Creed, and he did Batman. So, like, really, Roger is a man of many talents. But I think what's also worth saying is that for him, I think he's excited about getting back to Kyle Crane, because this is a very unique opportunity for him to kind of show also his growth as a voice actor over those 10 years. The character has changed. Is, let's say, 10 years, even more older. Roger is older, but also more experienced. And now he can use all of those experiences, everything that he learned as a voice actor over those 10 years, and bring it to Kyle Crane right now and make him more nuanced and more interesting and more complex. And I think there's something very special about it. I like to compare it to, I don't know, Al Pacino in Godfather. So he was like kind of a young Al Pacino in the first one, a middle-aged Al Pacino in the second one, and actually even more middle-aged Al Pacino in the third one. But I think in all of those movies, he could show his growth as also as an actor, and that growth as an actor reflected in the growth of the character. I think for voice actors, it's much more difficult, because you basically have just one tool, just your voice, that you can use to create a person, a character. But I think that's what also makes Roger such a special actor, basically, because using just one tool, he can really bring a character like Kyle Crane to life. And as I said, in The Beast, he can do even more, because he can show the growth of the character, but also the growth of himself as an actor.
In regards to The Beast, kind of, we've had a few questions about not so much about the story, but about, I suppose, the content in other senses. So people are keen to know, like, whether when the game's released, they'll get things like the new game plus, nightmare mode, or legend levels. I don't know if there's anything you can say about that yet, or whether that's something to be confirmed later.
Not really, to be honest. Like, what we are focusing right now is the kind of the base experience. So the game releases in summer 2025. We're not kind of locking down the date yet. A lot of it's happening in the industry, so we kind of need to make the smartest choice. But when it comes to anything that will happen post-launch, or anything that will happen, kind of the more detailed features that will happen on launch, we need to keep them secret for quite some time, because we need to have something to talk about when we'll kind of start the proper rollout and the proper communication about the game. Definitely, you will learn everything that you want to learn before the game is released, or when the game is released. But on the other hand, we are also focusing very much on the kind of the golden experience of the Beast. I want to say default, but it's kind of hard for me to say it, because default doesn't sound good enough for what we're cooking for the Beast. But kind of the base, the fundamental experience, so the difficulty, how the game plays, the progression. We need to make sure that this is locked down correctly, and then we'll keep adding and thinking about additional difficulty modes, etc. But everything will be uncovered before or on release.
Okay. And yeah, so because I'm just looking at the other questions in kind of a similar vein, because we had questions about some are very specific. Someone has asked if the flashlight will have inertia.
Yes, this I can answer. Yes.
And whether there'll be more special infected models like volatiles and goons.
Something for the later.
And how about day and night cycle and weather events? Is that something that's going to carry over?
So this I think I can answer. Also, maybe going back to the previous one, we are not talking much about the I would say the infected, the zombies players know already. But what we are talking about is that the game will also feature a new type of enemy for us, so-called chimeras. Chimeras are the effects of the experiments of the Baron. And those are basically like huge mutated zombie monsters that you fight as you play the game as boss fights. And players got a glimpse of one of those chimeras in one of our early trailers. Since then, they have changed and expanded and got scarier a lot. So definitely the chimeras are one of the elements of the game where we have. This is exactly the thing that you ask me about. Like I want to tell you stuff because they are really kind of those. They are a presence on the screen, and like those fights are really very cool. But again, something we need to keep for later. But believe me, like we'll start talking about the beast a lot very soon. And now going back to day and night and weather effects. Of course, day and night makes a return. This is a fundamental, basically DNA type of mechanic in our game, where you have those two halves of a game. The day part, which is more focused on gathering resources. It's also scary. It's also life-threatening. But if you are smart, if you use your survival sense, if you use your skills, your agility, your weapons, you're kind of able to manage to control everything that happens around you. But then when the night comes, everything changes. Everything flips over. The most scary zombie type volatiles, they come out, and there is no kind of bargaining with those guys. You can't really do a negotiation with them. When they see you, they chase you. They want to grab you. They want to rip your head off. So you really need to stay on your toes, stay quiet, be constantly mindful about your surroundings. And when they see you, basically run, and try to basically not get caught. And so this returns. There are even elements where we try to emphasize and make it a little bit more interesting. What helps us here is the new environment. Imagine that for example, there are parts of the map which are covered by forest, woods, lots of woods, and you just basically go through the woods with your flashlight on. The inertia is working, the shadows are kind of everywhere, and you don't really see if that's a shadow from a tree or maybe there's a zombie there. And maybe you see a tree and you get closer, but suddenly there's a zombie coming from behind the tree. So it really adds to the atmosphere a lot. So day and night absolutely makes a return, and I think it's actually again, I don't want to overhype this. So I would say it's on par with the strongest elements of night we did in the
Well,
past.
I can explain you how much I was scared the first time I played Dying Light, and when the night came, oh my god, I
Yes.
didn't believe how scary it was. And you're telling me now, well, there's going to be forest. Oh my god.
Apologies, but actually maybe there's a little insight and the kind of backstory for this. We also had your story, Budin, from many players, and then we thought, okay, that's nice, we like that, but on the other hand, it doesn't make sense for us because we made this game which has two halves, and it seems that a lot of people are skipping the night part because they are too scared of it. And we looked at the data coming from the game, and we actually also saw that there were a lot of people that basically skipped the night part and just play the day.
I didn't skip it. I didn't skip it. I really love being this girl.
Okay, exactly. But maybe this is. I was talking earlier about some lessons that we took from both games, and actually for the second game, because we wanted to make the night more accessible, we changed the rules of it quite a lot, and we actually realized that okay, we made the night more accessible, and there were players that were praising this. Oh, it's now more accessible. I can play it with no effort, which already sounded a little bit funky, that they can play the night part with no effort. But then the core community, the hardcore Dying Light players told us, hey guys, but where's our night? Like, I'm not scared anymore. I want to be scared. So definitely with Dying Light the Beast, we go back to Dying Light 1. Like our goal, internal goal, is that we want the nights to be as scary as they were in the first game, and then maybe also use the benefit of the new environment and the moments I have been telling you about in the forest and etc. So we basically, for the night experience, we like there's a room in our office where on one screen you have Dying Light 1, and like we constantly play the night in Dying Light 1, and on the other monitor and PC there's the night in the beast, and we constantly keep playing that, and we basically check, okay, is it scary enough? Like maybe there's this little element in Dying Light 1, we don't have it here, let's try to recreate that. So definitely we are very conscious on making sure that the night in Dying Light the Beast delivers. Now, the other part of the question was about the weather effects. So, of course, yes, there will be weather changes in the game as well. We are connecting some gameplay mechanics to the weather as well. So that even simple things. If you have a weapon which is modded with electric mode, you use it when it's wet during the rain, it has a bigger effect on zombies. Simple things like that. You drive a car, the rain is falling, the road is more slippery, so it's easier for you to lose control of the car, but still adding to the immersion. So first of all, yes, the weather is there. There are gameplay elements connected to it. And we have also focused a lot on improving our own technology for Dying Light the Beast. Dying Light the Beast is made using our own C engine. And it's actually a good thing for us, because if we want a feature, if we want some improvements, we basically just go a level down in our office and talk to people that work on the engine, and we tell them, hey, we need this, like, come on guys, we need this, give it to us. So when upgrading our technology for the Beast, we have focused specifically on the elements that increase your feeling of immersion, increase the feeling of you being in this world. So this is lighting, this is how materials, objects are looking, how real they are, and also the weather effect. So I think players will be really excited about what we are having there. Right now we are polishing the transition between weather states, because like we're still not happy with that. The weathers are okay, but for example, when there's a calm day and it starts raining, we want to make it again a little bit more immersive, where the rain slowly builds up and then there's this big downpour. So this is actually, when it comes to weather effects, we are polishing that element of it.
Yeah. And in the alongside that, the kind of presumably like as part of this immersion, like the soundtrack will play a big part of this as well. We're working with Oliver de Riviere again.
Yes.
Because I know like the dynamic parkour soundtrack was quite popular from last time, and in all the games kind of he's worked on, he's developing more and more these kind of dynamic sounds which adapt to how you play in the game. Is that going to play a big part in the atmosphere?
Yes, so absolutely. One thing about Olivier is that he's not only a musician, a composer who basically composes music, plays it, and sends it to us and says, "Hey guys, you can have it." He's not like that. What he's doing, he's basically a game developer who also composes music and can play instruments. So he's very heavily involved in the creation of the game, and he understands games, I think, much better than just a composer, because he understands the special elements of this medium that make it unique compared to movies, TV, etc., etc. And that element is, of course, interactivity and how dynamic it can be depending on what player is doing. So yes, definitely there will be elements in the game that are very strongly connected to player actions. But generally, what I want to say is that we approach the music differently for the Beast. As I was saying, Dying Light 2 Stay Human, it was this action blockbuster where everything was basically scored like if it was a action movie from Michael Bay, for a lack of better comparison. So like every sequence was like full on instruments and building up and creating those emotions. I think with the Beast we are playing this much more intimately. We don't use that much of music. We just use it to highlight specific moments, like big wins in a combat, like really a success, kind of subtly trying to highlight the growing sequence of your parkour moves. Yes, some narratives elements, etc. But it's not like you constantly get music in your headphones. What we are focusing right now with the beast is to make sure that the sounds of the world, the sounds of zombies as well, but the world, the leaves of the trees moving around, the grass, the kind of your steps, the growls of zombies, someone screaming in the distance. We basically want you to make you basically be able to close your eyes, put on your headphones, and you can instantly transfer yourself to where you are. And maybe even if you are a skilled player, maybe actually would love to see that one day. Like you can just play the whole game with your closed eyes, just hearing to the sounds. Maybe that, like we'll see. But that's a challenge for some YouTube influencers out there, because I know they like those kinds of challenges. So you can try to play it like that. No, but Oliver is a great guy. He also brings a lot of good music to Dying Light the Beast. But actually it's coming from him. We are using the music differently. We are using the music to highlight and really just focus on the most important elements. And outside of that, it's just a very subtle stuff that kind of gets you into the mood, and then will leave you with the sounds of everything that's around you.
So
The beautiful zombie apocalypse
the
around you.
environment music will be a really important role on this game.
I think so. I think so. Actually, it was also very challenging for us, because usually, as you know, Dying Light is a game where a very strong component of it is parkour, is how you naturally, physically traverse the environment by doing jumps, vaults, slides. This was very important for us. But we also wanted to challenge ourselves and try to see if we can do a different type of environment. So there's a town in the middle of the map, which is basically a parkour paradise. We are very consciously saying, okay, we don't have the classic parkour everywhere on the map. So let's make sure that the areas where the parkour, where the geometry lends itself well to parkour, let's make sure that this is a parkour paradise. There are no hiccups, there are no elements that you grab and you get stuck, because like we try to, like, actually our playtesters, can I swear on the podcast or not? Just like one word. Okay. So I told them, guys, when you test parkour in the, like anywhere in the game, but especially in the town, and there's also another area which is very parkour heavy called industrial area, where there are lots of factories and cranes and kind of pipes on which you run. So I told them, guys, like if you test it, I have a method for you that you should use. And the method is oh fuck method. And how you do it, you just start the chase and keep running, and there are volatiles behind your back, and you try to run away from them using parkour. And every time where you get kind of stuck on geometry, where something doesn't work, where you would like to, where you see some interesting connection but you cannot jump there, basically every time when you say oh fuck during a chase, this means that this is the place which we have to correct. And they are basically doing this, playing the game and saying, oh, fuck, I shouldn't be dying here. And then we mark this location and we try to improve it to make sure that all of the routes, all of the parkour paths are kind of seamless and effortless in a way. But we wanted to challenge ourselves. So there are those areas which you could call parkour paradises, but there are also areas where the parkour is a little more subtle. Somewhere we even gave up on doing parkour. Like in the forests, maybe there's like, I don't know, a fallen tree on which you can run, which you can jump over, but we didn't want to force parkour there. We didn't want to make one of those, like there are those parks for children, like jungle parks, where you have lots of stuff in between trees where you can kind of do crazy acrobatics. We didn't want to do that. So there are areas where we don't have the classic parkour, in a way that you just run in a sequence performing jumps, vaults, slides, jumps, slides, vault. There are areas where we don't do that. What we do there in those locations instead is that we are, first of all, sometimes we just let go. we say, okay, it's okay to just walk around and soak the atmosphere. Somewhere in those areas, we allow you to drive a vehicle, which is another new addition to the beast, and it kind of eases the traversal if you don't want to walk yourself. Uh, but then when we look, for example, at the game locations, the quest locations, places where you have to reach like the mission tells you, hey, go into this building and find something. So each one of those locations, we treat them kind of like parkour puzzles, like environmental puzzles. Very rarely you just go into there using the front door. Usually what happens is that there is like you have to climb there, maybe go through the rooftop, maybe go through the window on the second floor. So if you are into Dying Light games because of parkour, I think you will also find a lot of cool stuff in it, in the beast as well.
I have a question as we are talking about game design. This is more on the artistic way. Has the studio worked with some graphic content like Half-Life, such as pictures of deceased people in order to make the infected look more real?
Of course, we use references. I'm not sure if I get the question correctly, but of course we are using references, and we're looking at movies. At like, to be honest, our like one of the hardest parts of the job for our artists is when they work on body damage system, like the cut limbs, the wounds after sticking a machete into someone. Kind of gory
Yes.
stuff. Thankfully, we are on the on the horror podcast, but so to do that and to do that correctly, they basically have to go through pictures of those things in real life. So yes, we use references. Sometimes those references are very gory. Sometimes those references are very beautiful. Um, but yes, this is a foundation for our artists. But absolutely, we don't use AI to any extent. You know, maybe office work to create a report from something. So that's what we use AI for. But I think we are very proud about the fact that everything about Dying Like the Beast, like all of the graphic elements, etc., 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 everything is basically handcrafted by our artists. And this is also a big change compared to Dying Light to Stay Human. With Dying Light to Stay Human, we have aimed for the size, for the scale. We wanted the city to be big and very vertical. But because of that, we used a couple of kind of automated systems where we have written a system, coded a system which allowed us to create interiors, basically kind of, how do you call it? They were generated by the machine, like in a way that it was
Procedural
put
generation.
together, randomized. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Randomized by the machine, and then our artists were going to each of those locations, correcting them. But because of the scale of the game, they weren't able to focus on each interior. Dying Light the Beast has a kind of smaller open world, but it's much more dense. It's actually much more interesting to just stop in a room and look around, and you will see real life around you. In Dying Light 2, maybe it was bigger, but you were going to that environment without even stopping and thinking. It was just a kind of a gym for you to run through. For Dying Light the Beast, hopefully, when you will play it, you will really kind of try and stop everywhere and look around you and see, okay, so this is different. This is how those people lived before the apocalypse. So I think we are very also. I think that's another part that's very refreshing to our artists.
That's really good. Me personally, when I play games, I really like to stop and just appreciate the textures and the details, because the depth somehow they tell a story with only that, and I think it's really a really beautiful way to do that in a video game.
Our artists thinks exactly the same thing, and then they were very happy when we said, okay, we don't look for square kilometers of buildings where there is kind of nothing in it, just generic stuff. We are looking at something that's still big but smaller, and it is really dense. We want the dense. We want high fidelity of the open world that surrounds you.
Yeah, something that feels lived in.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Did you say it's in 5 minutes? You need to head off.
Yes, apologies, but I have a super important meeting in 5 minutes. So
No worries, no worries.
so
I just wanted to make sure I had the time right. But before we go, I think one other thing I just wanted to ask quickly. Obviously, at the moment, that Dying Light the Beast is slated for all platforms, including last gen, like PlayStation 4 and Xbox.
yes,
Does that present
yes.
its own challenges? Because I know a lot of stuff now is purely focused on next gen and PC.
We are in kind of good spirit. We have hopes that we'll be able to deliver that. Of course, the optimal experience is how, also because how beautiful the game is. Like, I would encourage everyone to choose the best possible configuration they can have, but we want Dying Light the Beast to be played by as many players as possible.
Yeah. And obviously, you were saying about watching the wish lists go up on Steam, and everything that's good. Is now people have got the ability to wish list on Xbox and PlayStation as well, I believe. So is that something you're encouraging people to do to like support the game?
Absolutely, guys. If you can, everyone, please, 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 from the bottom of my heart, support us as much as you can. Those wish lists are very important for us. They motivate the team a lot. Of course, you will make it for you. You will make your decision when the game is released if you want to buy it or not. But even the wish lists are important for us, because like this tells us, hey, someone somewhere in the world took a second, like, I don't know, 10 seconds, okay, to think about us nicely, think about our work nicely, think about what we do with some kind of respect and interest, and decided, I will click that because maybe sometime in the future, during the summer 2025, I will be interested in that game. So keep me updated. So of course, absolutely, guys, please wishlist us. This is what basically drives us. This is the energy. This is our coffee every day.
Yeah. Absolutely. And for anyone watching or listening, there will be links to wishlist and support the game in the video description. So please do check that out and do that. And I'm sure at some point in the future, we'll be looking forward to all the updates come out, and presumably to someone to do a blindfolded playthrough as well.
Okay, like actually, maybe what we can do is even I can try it on your stream if you want, like just to have fun of me in the future when the game is released.
That'd be very fun actually. If we can find someone who does that sort of thing. I do some challenge runs myself, but never anything blindfolded, so I wouldn't volunteer. But it's been a pleasure talking to you, and great to hear more about the game, and obviously looking forward to more coming out soon. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the invitation, and apologies, we need to cut it short just at 51 minutes. So like if at any time in the future you would be interested in another conversation,
Yeah.
I'm your man.
Oh no, absolutely. We'll take you up on that.
It was really good to meet you, and it's an honor for me.
No, please don't, please don't. It was an honor to be here, and I'm super. To be honest, I feel relieved that you didn't ask me any like hardcore horror questions, because I was afraid you will try to test my knowledge on horrors, which I think is not shabby, but also I think you would very easily make me realize I still need to catch up on some things. So good. I was spared that.
We'll save that for next time.
Okay. But challenge accepted. Please believe me.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you so much.
See you later, everyone.
Bye-bye.
This has been Talking Terror, the official podcast of the Horror Game Awards. Thank you very much for listening. Check out the links in the description for more info on where to follow our guests in order to support them and keep up to date with their work. The Horror Game Awards will be airing live on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to avoid missing out on what promises to be a very exciting night of awards and game reveals, as well as future episodes of this podcast and other content. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.